everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to start playing F-Zero for the Super Nintendo. Maybe you've heard of it, Captain Falcon, that whole thing, right? This is a racing game. Super Nintendo came out in, I guess, 1991, which was when I was 3 years old, and my brother wasn't born yet, so how about that? Let's jump into Grand Prix here. So, when everyone thinks about Super Nintendo racing, of course you think of the original Mario Kart, which was probably the most well-known one. But probably the second most well-known racing game, was F-Zero. And it's one that I played a lot when I was a kid, although I was terrible at it, never got very far. But I always liked it, and I always liked the F-Zero series, even though it's kind of gone on permanent hiatus since the GameCube era, I guess, which makes me sad because I really like F-Zero games, and I'll show you why I like this one. So first of all, we got to pick who we're going to be. At this point in the series, the first game, there were only 4 cars, and you didn't even know who was driving them. Now we know who drives these, but back then you didn't. So we've got the Blue Falcon, the Golden Fox, sorry I'm going off memory, Wild Goose, and the Fire Stingray, and we're going to be the Blue Falcon, of course. The iconic ship/car of Captain Falcon. There's 3 different Grand Prix in this, Knight, Queen, and King League. There's several difficulties. We're just going to go, whoops, I accidentally started the 3rd league. I didn't mean to do that, Knight League. We're going to go with beginner because I have enough trouble winning on that. I don't need any more. Let's begin. Alright, so we start out on Mute City 1 with this iconic F-Zero song. The gameplay itself is pretty simple. I'm just holding down B to go fast. And that's pretty much all you can do except for steer. I think we have to go around this like 5 times. And you can see up on the left side there, we have our current rank and then a safety number. There's only the 4 main character cars racing around, but there's also these weird like yellow round cars that I guess are also in the race, but they're just like, here, this guy. It's like they can't win and nobody cares about them, but they count for places, I guess. So every lap you go around, your safety number goes down or gets lower, and it's like if you are not in that place or higher at the end of the round, you just lose. I don't feel like that's a normal racing stipulation where you have to be near the front enough or you get eliminated. It's not a typical thing, but it is here. So we're on what, like lap 3, and I have to be in 7th or higher to keep going. You can see there's jumps sometimes. There's like dirty track where if you drive over that, it'll slow you down, even though I think we're floating in the air, so I don't know how that affects us, but whatever. You've got these green circles on the side, which will like bust you up if you run into them, and then this flashing area is like the pit stop area, I guess. If you drive on it, then it refills your power. And by power, it means the integrity of your ship, because if that runs out, you explode. Ow! That guy exploded on me. For the most part, it's that yellow car, Dr. Stewart's car, that's the only one that's going to try and beat you. The other 2 usually don't get that close, unless you bump into lots of stuff. Final lap. Now before this lap ends, I want you to look at the background up there. This game uses Mode 7 graphics. I don't know how it works, but it was something that they used in a lot of Super Nintendo games to make it look kind of 3D-ish. But one of my favorite things about this game is the backgrounds they have for all the tracks. So you can see Mute City back there with the futuristic skyscrapers. I just think that's really pretty. Now that the action's finally stopped, you can see that there's like a bunch of space highways below us, and I guess more city. I don't know. They did a lot with a little, I guess is what I'm trying to say. They made it look pretty cool. It's got a cool aesthetic. Track 2, Big Blue. Big Blue and Mute City are the two tracks that everybody knows from F-Zero, and most people probably couldn't name any others. And I totally understand that, because when I was a kid, this is probably as far as I made it most of the time. You know, I could win Mute City, and I'd do okay on Big Blue, and then the rest of the tracks in this game just destroyed me. I could not keep up with them. Here we've got some ice. Oh, slippery. Even though we're in like a tropical climate. Gotta refill a little bit here. The background here, you can see there's like mountains in the far distance, there's some trees, and then some like big mossy rocks in the ocean. It's very cool. I kind of want to say that Big Blue is actually more famous or more popular than Mute City is. I'm not sure why that is. I feel like people like this song better than Mute City's. But I don't know. I've always been partial to Mute City myself. One thing I forgot to mention, every time you finish a lap, down in the bottom right corner you can see those S's. 2 of them are green. When you finish a lap, you get 1 green S, and you can hit A to use that for like a speed boost for a little while. So it's usually a good idea to use them on the straights. Get out of here, Stewart. Like here. Makes you go very fast. I gotta get all my talking out of the way early, because later on I'm gonna be crashing a lot. Whew. Final lap. Let's refill power here. There we go. Number 1. Got an extra car in case I explode, I guess. So F-Zero is, of course, supposed to be the futuristic equivalent of Formula 1 racing that we have today. And of course, back when I played this as a kid, I had no idea what Formula 1 was. You know, whenever you go to an arcade, you'd see like a Formula 1 game, or there were like F1 pole position games, and I was like, I have no idea what any of that means. I want to say that in the PlayStation 1 era, I played some sort of like virtual racing type game with like, you know, heavily polygoned Formula 1 racing, and I had no idea what I was doing for sure. It wasn't until a few years ago when Adam actually got me into real Formula 1 racing, which I do actually like now. There's a lot of interesting things about that. As a sport, it has some issues, but the racing itself is cool, and I think F-Zero captured a couple of the best parts of Formula 1 racing, which is the unique, or maybe not unique, but like the fact that everyone's car is different in some way. And then later on, when they added on the N64 in F-Zero X, was it? They added like unique drivers for every car, and so everyone had a little more personality. That, and then the different tracks in different locations. That's all true of Formula 1 as well, although of course this is a little more exotic. Now, unfortunately, one of the best parts of Formula 1 racing is tire strategy, which is absent in F-Zero. It would be cool if they added in, like, rocket engine strategy or something, where you'd have to replace your engines and have different options there, but sadly they did not include that. What was this one called? I missed it. Is it Sand Ocean? Very deserty, to be sure. Giant rocks and mesas in the background. Ah. Ugh. Hitting that apex. Right? Some of these turns get too tight. But yeah, there's no way I made it through Sand Ocean when I was young. Any of those tight turns I'd be bouncing off the walls. Eventually I'd just explode, I'm sure. Now I'm an adult. I can do it. Especially this one. Ugh. Sometimes you gotta slow down too. Woo! Yeah, those other like orangish yellow cars just get in the way. They're just put there so you bounce into them and hit the wall. Like so. Ooh. Get out of here, Stewart. He's the worst. He's so fast. So yeah, we're supposed to be Captain Falcon driving this, but I don't actually know if you ever see Captain Falcon in this game. Maybe you do. Like if you win everything. I don't remember. Or maybe it says his name somewhere. But yeah, it was F-Zero X where they took it from 4 up to 30 cars, and everybody had their own weird alien driver with their own backstory, which was really awesome. You got like James McCloud and Octoman and Mr. EAD. Lots of cool people. What was that guy? Super Arrow, was that it? Just a lot of personality for a racing game. No problem. Look out, civilian. The captain's coming through. Alright, I think we got 2 more here. Deathwind 1. A scary sounding track. And this track actually has a crosswind. So you'll see that I'm steering a little weirdly because I'm being pushed very heavily to the side. Otherwise the track looks pretty easy, right? It's just a big oval. But it's because you're always being pushed. It's kind of hard to steer. Get out of here, Stewart! And the wind's always blowing in the same direction, so when you turn, you have to account for that change. Ugh. It does not feel good. Imagine a planet where the wind is this strong, where you're driving and it blows you sideways. Background looks nice. We got some nice mountains and like a giant skull. Don't know what that's from. Some like ribs of a monster sticking out back there. It's cool. Like this art tells a story about this planet that is never talked about in game, and I like it. Yeah, those other racers, like, most of them are orange and yellow and they just get in the way, and then every once in a while you come across a pink one that's just like, touch me and I'll explode. Straight up murder a guy. It says check down there because I miss a boost, and Dr. Stewart's like, I hit all the boosts. Get out of the way! Out me way! Final lap. We can beat him. Yeah, if you happen to work at Nintendo or know somebody who does, tell them to make another F-Zero game, please. They're so good. Like, this one is very good for the Super Nintendo. F-Zero X added a bunch on the 64, and then they made F-Zero GX on the GameCube, which I loved. It was beautiful. It had all of the 30 racers, tons of cool tracks, great music. And then after that, they're just like, you know what? We're not going to make them anymore. They made some like Game Boy Advance games, I think, but no real big ones, and it makes me sad. They continue to use Captain Falcon in Smash Bros., but nobody even remembers what game he's from anymore. Now that the Switch is out, I really want them to make a new one with online multiplayer. Can you imagine 30 people racing online? Like, it probably would not work at all, and that's probably why they're not going to do it. But it would be so great. I would get it. Silence. Silence is a great name for a racetrack. And actually, I really love this song. And this track. It's just, it has this mystique. Oh, I remember this one. Okay. So you can see from the map down there, this track is all 90-degree turns. Gotta cut some corners here. Ooh. The background is beautiful. I love that purplish-orange sunset type thing. There's weird rocks. And at one angle, you can see like another planet nearby. It's very cool. We also have a split up here. You can take the long way around, which is safer but slower, or through these mines. Oh, jeez. And off that jump. If you miss the jump, you have to go through a slow area. If you hit the jump, you have to make sure you don't fly off the track, because if you fly off the track, you die. Yeah, this track is great. There's the planet. Beautiful. And I think that this is the only silence track in the game, which makes me sad. Because it's really cool. I think it's a great one to end the Night League on, but I kind of wish that later it was like Silence 2, and it's even crazier. I think it's the only one. Underappreciated track. Here, we'll go around this way so you can see it. There's no mines, but it takes longer. It gives you a better angle on that jump. So it's kind of up to you. Now that I'm ahead of everybody, maybe I can go the safe route rather than risk death. Look out, explodey guy. I don't have time for you. Alright, we can do it. We're gonna go safe route. Hit the jump good. Out me way! And there you have it, folks. Goes through all the times. We follow Falcon as he goes around this track again. That's the Night League. Hope you enjoyed it. We got 2 leagues to go. They get much more difficult and crazy. So we'll see if we can make it through them alive or not. Not too bad. Alright, and then the only thing left for today is, I think, the record screen, which I think is great. Okay. You're going to think this is boring, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. The records menu, you can check your like top times for every track, right? So you can see the 5 that we just did. But first of all, I love this song. It takes me back. It is such pure Super Nintendo basement in the 90s feeling. It's amazing. You can see a couple other times I played this a while ago. Or at least the Night League. So it's got this great music, and then when you go into the track to look at your times, it puts up that background mural, which is just such a big feel. Like, look at this. They're just so beautiful. Anyway, I know you're like, who cares about that? But you know what? I care about it, so... This is my channel. I care about this stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching. That was the Night League. Next time we will do Queen, and after that King, so I hope to see you there. Let me know what your favorite track was, and why it was Silence.